but it doesn't have the same age. My mom lives in a historic farmhouse that was built in the 1700s. It's haunted. I am sure it's haunted. There was a guy, General Kirk B. Lawton, hit my bedroom as a kid, was his bedroom. I could smell his cigar smoke at night, and he had died like 100 years earlier. But the house is haunted. She got a picture of like she was remodeling, and it's the living room, and there's a bay window. There's an empty couch in the foreground of that picture, and in the reflection in the window behind it, you can see a person sitting on that couch.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, house is haunted for sure. Like I love that. I love horror. I love that feeling. I love that, and I miss that about being there. Like we got Sasquatch here. That's cool.
Justin, I want to believe it, but is Sasquatch just so much? Is the intelligence of Sasquatch so much more than us that they bury their remainings?
I think it's space. So my wife will shoot me because I don't believe in Sasquatch, but I do believe in Sasquatch because I drove across the country twice when we moved out here. Drove the moving van out, flew back, put the family in the minivan, and drove across again. There is so much space. There is more open space and trees and nothing and inaccessible mountains than you could possibly imagine if you've never been through it. Like we go camping, we go dispersed camping, we just drive out on dirt roads, and when there's a spot on the side of the road, we're going to camp there. That's scary as hell. Between grizzly bears and mountain lions and potential Sasquatch,
yes, sir.
It's scary, and you can believe when you're out there. We like I fly to Seattle or drive to Seattle, and you got to go through the Cascade Mountains, and like Seattle's a big city, and these mountains are like 40 minutes from downtown Seattle.
Yes,
and there's nothing. There is nothing. Not a single thing. You could easily believe there could be something there that people just don't see. I think it's ridiculous to think that we haven't ever found anything if they really exist. So that's the like, yeah, probably not. But if you want to see something, there's space. There's so much space that there could be unimagined out there that you would never know.
Is there anything better than a trip getting ready? Nope. For a long journey where our podcast released a new epi, searching for a fade fiend, new fixation. Giving this a subscribe is the same sensation. Started with the day ones, they gave us fuel to support the season. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here for a reason. Notification bells, text friends, all to let you know. Check your Bluetooth, connect, talking with Donato.
Welcome in, everyone. Episode 137, A Nobleman Amongst Us, with our guest, Justin Marquis. I like the eyebrow lift, Justin. I did my homework. I know what the last name signifies. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
It is like the most amazing last name. I think the definition was an Englishman nobility was what a Marquis is. You're just like right below a duke, but you're above
a lesser noble. Yeah.
wait, you're above a count. You're above an earl.
Except it's not, because my people come from across the border illegally from Quebec a few generations ago, and when they got to Canada, I'm sure some yo-yo French dude, because they came from France, from Brittany, said, "Hey, we should be royalty. We'll take Marquis as the last name." That's how it happened. It was just some dude probably fresh out of prison. Like, yeah, we will be noble. We will be the noblemen.
Yeah. Wait. I didn't know you had accents. That wasn't too bad. It wasn't too shabby. My wife won't allow me to do accents. They get bad. They apparently, her words. She said they sound racist. She said that they So that's why I'm scared. I don't touch them because of that.
I only do white people accents. So.
Yeah, well, I guess that's why I don't do anymore, because I didn't have a black accent that I did. Although I should. It would be really cool to have an African one. But anyway, I thought I had an Australian one. It just makes her laugh. Again, I thought I had an Indian one. Red dot India. Again, I think more specifically, that's probably the one that she was like, "No, bro, that doesn't sound that good."
Yeah, that can get stereotypical fast.
So yeah, that's all I had. It's just, man, I had a lot of Indian friends, and I thought it was okay. I thought I made some comments. I made the cricket jokes, the cricket stereotype. Like, we're playing basketball. If they airball something, I was like, bro, this ain't cricket. But yeah, sometimes you get very comfortable, and so I've just let it go. What other ones do you have?
I don't do any formal ones. The Spanish one. So here's the weird thing, though. I'm from Massachusetts, from like backwoods Massachusetts. All my people have really thick New England accents. I never have.
What?
So yeah, I've always had a very neutral accent. People would be like, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Massachusetts."
Yeah.
My dad's got the super thick New Hampshire accent, so I'm not sure I can even do those. And I was just there.
So that's that just proves the point of how noble you are. You were like, "Listen, man, I'm so much bigger than my surroundings here. I don't need that accent to fit in, to be cool.
I don't need that weak accent." Yeah.
Since I lived in Mass, I gotta ask you just about a few little things here.
Sure.
Back to the Super Bowl when Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, when they did that commercial, and then the accent came back. How did that hit for you being a Massachusetts?
It always does feel like home. That like hearing that accent feels like home, even though I haven't had it myself. So it's weird. It is always a little cringy. Like we watched Survivor with Boston Rob, and then there's been a few other Massachusetts guys on there.
Yeah,
it always sounds cringy. It always sounds honestly kind of low class, even though I know it's not. My mom's accent, I think they call it like a Boston Brahmin accent, which is some highfalutin kind of accent, but always to me sounds kind of low class. But sorry, Massachusetts people out there listening.
Hey, I think. Well, I lived in Boston. I think of all. This is going to be the worst thing to say. Of all the chapters I've been in my fraternity, that's probably home. That's probably the most fun, the most attached. And then this is wow. You're the third person from Massachusetts I've had. That's the most of any state. I had a guy from Jamaica Plains. I had a guy from right in Boston, and he's still a school teacher out there to this day. And you, man, it's just so cool to have so many Massachusetts. That's not intentional.
Yeah,
I didn't meet any of them
35 years. So yeah.
Sheesh. Wait a minute. 35 years. Wait. When I met you in Carlisle. I know a lot of people. I'm just joking before I make them all mad. I met you in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. So how long did you live in that area?
So we went. My wife and I met at Dickinson.
Right.
And I graduated in '93.
Okay.
So and then we went to Indiana for grad school. So master's and doctorate in Indiana, and then moved back to Carlisle in 2002, something like that, and then left Carlisle in 2009 to come out west.
Okay. What school in Indiana is it? IU.
The school, IUB. I was there when Bobby Knight got fired. That was
so. My fraternity started there at IU down in Bloomington, and I lived in Indiana for a while. I was there. I lived there for about a year in like 2008 for the Army. I really love it. That Midwest flavor. Just man, I really love my time.
Yeah, parts of it.
And then I gotta do this because I like stereotypes when they're funny or they really are true, but. Justin, something tells me you played a lot of basketball where you were there at Indiana University. Am I right?
We played intramurals for sure. We played grad intramurals. Played a lot of pickup with dudes from Turkey. Not sure why. There are tons of Turkish guys in my grad program, so we're in a school event, so we go out back and shoot hoops at lunch all the
time. I got a story of Turkish guys. When this is all declassified now, but when the war started. I was in Turkey at a Turkish Air Force base. I played probably every day pickup soccer with the Turkish shoulders. I was at Incirlik Air Base in Turkey, and I'm telling you, those guys were really good. That's my first time playing with Europeans technically, and Turkey is kind of.
You learned about the Euro step the hard way,
Yes. Well, I meant pickup soccer.
They probably still Eurostep and pick up.
Yes. Yes. But those guys were so good. I don't know how their World Cup team actually does, but those dudes should have been it. I mean, they were rocking stuff from like midfield, and I was just so impressed. I'm like, why are you in the Army? Like, I know some of us, we have some stories behind us, but you guys are really good. Like, you guys are amazing. So,
do they have mandatory service in the Turkish Army?
I believe so. I'm not
like
so
Israel,
sure.
So that's probably what it is. They probably had to be in the Army.
It's so funny because I've lived in so many other countries where I have found that out. Like Germans have asked me, "Hey, we don't understand, Donato. In America, you guys don't have to serve like we do here. So why do you guys serve? We don't get that." And then I lived in Korea for a year, and same thing, mandatory, and I got asked that a lot. And I actually don't remember having that conversation in Turkey, but man, good kudos to you for even because I didn't know that. I want to brag one last little thing about that time in Turkey. If I told you that while I was in Turkey, I was a millionaire, would that impress you, Justin?
Oh, a million, whatever they have in Turkey. Yeah.
I see. This is a learned man. He knows. Yeah.
If I knew what the currency was, I'd be better.
Yeah. Wait. What? Sheesh. What was that? That was dinar.
It's like it's on the tip of my mind somewhere.
Turkish
in there.
dinar. I think it's dinar.
Maybe.
I think it was called dinar.
It's like
So
4 billion dinar to the dollar.
Thank you. So after I left, so that was 03. I think I was there. After I left, they took a comma off and took it back down to 100,000s. But
sure,
I remember I went to the ATM and I got some money out and I was like, wow.
4 million. Yeah.
I remember I took some kind of photo. Good thing we didn't have social media back then. But the little Polaroid, I know I sent that to my mom. I was like, Mom, we're a millionaire. So that was a lot of fun. They were some great guys. Yeah. Great hospitality in that country too.
Mm-hmm.
What places have you gone then? Oh, Noble, Justin Marquis.
Yeah, not much of a world traveler, honestly.
Oh,
so
really?
Small town guy. Yeah, obviously been to Canada lots of times. And Mexico and the Bahamas, and that's about it. Hawaii, but that doesn't count as a foreign country.
No. So. And I lived in Los Angeles and never went to Hawaii. What were your impressions of Hawaii? Since I've never been.
Of Hawaii? Well, my stepfather grew up in Hawaii, so we got the like behind the scenes tour. We go to beaches in Hawaii. We're the only people on the beach.
Wow,
pretty damn cool. I don't know what beaches they were. He's like, yeah, we're gonna go to this place, and away we went. And then his adopted father, was military, was on the base, whatever base is there in Oahu. So we went on base too to go to a private military beach, I guess, on Oahu. So that was pretty cool.
I've always heard from the people who actually have been stationed there that I knew that you got to get a local because it's a whole different experience.
Yep. Yeah.
You just confirmed that too. Okay, so Canada. You said that you do go to Canada a lot. Can I offer an opinion? I think Vancouver was the most amazing city. I've been to Toronto, I've been to Montreal. What say you?
I haven't spent a lot of time in Vancouver, despite being out here. I've only been to Vancouver once. Toronto I've been to lots of times. Montreal I've been to several times. We really like the West Coast. Like, we are completely sold on being out here, being West Coast. And honestly, many of the times we go to Canada, we go nowhere in Canada. Like, we're 2 hours from the border, and we camp right up by the border. So we go up to the border, we bring our passports, and we just go up into Canada. They're always like, why are you coming to Canada? We're like, because it's here. Like, it's a suspicious reason to come to Canada. I'm like, well, we're right there. So we figured we'd come use the bathroom. I don't know. Across the border. But then, the wild parts of Canada are great, beautiful, and cool. Vancouver is great. We've been out to Victoria Island, which is fantastic. Like, that's a glorious little city island. Like, that's really pretty. So Toronto, we went off for my honeymoon when I got married in Syracuse, went to Toronto for our honeymoon, saw Phantom of the Opera. And I have the most horrifying story of all time for anyone who ever considers himself athletic in any way. We went to a Red Sox Blue Jays game. It was Jeff Reardon pitching to John Olerud, two of my favorite players all time.
Yeah.
And Olerud cranks the ball. We were sitting like one seat out of bounds in the third deck in right field. And I'm watching the ball, and I'm like, oh, my God, that's coming here. I'm like, yeah. No, that's literally – I'm watching the curve. I'm like, that's literally coming right here. I'm like, it's going to hit my wife in the face if I'm not. So I stand up, and I put my hands like this, like some idiot, and it goes boom out to the side. And I'm like, oh, my God, on my honeymoon, I almost caught a ball for my two favorite players, and some little Russian kid picks it up, right? And I was like, can I have the ball? He's like, yeah, for $100. I was like, I'll give you 20, and then I'll give you $100 to eat my own embarrassment. But so close. And I believe Olerud hit a home run on the next pitch. So
maybe that wasn't your sport. I played basketball with you, and great basketball player. Those hands were good. I threw because I thought I was like an amazing point guard.
Hands of stone.
What happened there? Do you think? Okay, so help us out here. Let's see if we can save you. What sports did you play in high school?
Oh, high school was tragic, right? Where did I start? Played volleyball. Volleyball was all state in volleyball.
Wow.
And the volleyball coach, no, the soccer coach was also my basketball coach. And he came up to me one time because volleyball and soccer were in the same season.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You should play soccer." I was like, "No, I can literally stand there and be all state. Like I don't have to move except
Yeah.
when the ball comes, and then I just jump up and crack somebody in the face with on the other side of the net. Like I don't have to do anything, and I could be amazing. Like there's no way you run in soccer, dude. You run all the time."
I get it.
So
Sheesh.
did volleyball every year. And my dad is a huge golfer, so he pushed me to be on the golf team. So I was on the golf team for a couple years. And you know how they score match play in golf?
Yes.
You get a point for winning a hole and a
Uh-huh.
half point for tying a hole.
Yep.
In 2 years on the golf team, I scored 1.5 points.
Oh. Oh, wait a minute.
Not good. Not
Wait,
good.
wait. I'm trying to. You know what? We may go back and edit that out. And the producer's me. Oh man, I don't know if I should be laughing with you, at you.
I was terrible. Did get a hole in one time.
What?
I drove off a tee here. It hit the clubhouse and went over there into a different hole.
Wow. I'm laughing at you. I'm not amazing at golf, but I don't have a hole in one. Wow.
It didn't count as a hole in one. That's some sort of penalty stroke for both
because
hitting
it
a
went
building and putting it in the wrong hole. Yeah. I don't know what that counts as. It went in a hole in one shot, but that was it.
Okay, so the point and a half, and not all at once. Any of those in a critical moment? Maybe you guys were trying to get a district championship, and you got so it's just kind of random.
And I switched to track. Played basketball in the winters, and then switched to track for spring. And in the state championship meet my senior year, I came in first, second, or third in 8 different events. So track was the.
Jeez, there it is. That's my man. Because I didn't want the listeners to just live off of the Olerud opportunity. I want them to know that's the guy. That's the
long jump, high jump, triple jump, pole vault, short hurdles, 110 hurdles, intermediate hurdles, and then the 50-yard dash.
Yeah, so you had jets, as we say, like you were just really fast. Because the 50-yard dash, there's no recovery.
50 was a long time ago. Could have been 100. It was probably 100. Probably 100.
But you got to get out and you got to go.
Yeah. No, it's fast. So we did, when I was a student at Dickinson, we did decathlon, my friend Steven and I. We both pole vaulted. He did mainly pole vault. I did pole vault, long jump, high jump, triple jump, and some of the running events. But we did decathlon too. And my goal in the decathlon was to build up enough of a lead so I didn't have to run the mile. So I just walk the mile, enough points, it didn't matter. That's
hilarious.
Dan and Dave, like decathlon was huge.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I remember Dan and Dave. That was
those were the days.
It never turned out, right? Like what happened? One didn't qualify or something?
One didn't qualify and the other didn't win.
Yeah. I think I can remember the shoes because the cross-training shoes. I think I had a pair. I think I had a pair.
Were they the cross-trainer ones? The CT ones? The McEnroe also wore?
Oh, I'm not much.
With gray, dark gray, green swoosh?
No, the color scheme I'm thinking is like it was like gray and white. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll look the CT ones.
Because I thought also that it was a Bo Jackson cross trainer, and I don't want to confuse it with that.
Yeah, that shoe got a ton of play.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I
think it's the CT one. McEnroe wore it. Dan and Dave wore it. I think Bo Jackson wore it. Yeah. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was. Wait
a minute.
Really,
you seem a little too accurate on that. Are you a sneakerhead?
I love sneakers. Yeah, and I pass that on to my 17-year-old.
Oh, I feel sorry for your bank account then. that you passed that on.
Yeah, no, I had the first Jordans, of course, those the Air Jordan 1s back in
Very
the
cool.
day. I had them until we moved here. I think I got rid of them when we moved to Pennsylvania. I should have kept those bastards and resold them. I have the box
Okay.
upstairs still. All my
Okay.
memories in the box.
No, that counts. That counts.
Yeah.
All right. So then I gotta know. I'm not a sneakerhead. Can't say I'm a Jordan guy. I maybe have had 2 pairs. Don't hold it against me. 2 pairs, maybe 3. What's your favorite Jordan? Because I know I got some sneakerheads listening.
Oh, favorite Jordan is the 1. Like that's easy.
That's legit. Okay.
Nothing different, nothing better than the 1. My favorite Nike all time though is the Dion, the Air Diamond Turf with the gold across the strap.
No. What? How did that catch your eye?
Oh, those are. I worked in a sporting goods store after I graduated. While I waited for my wife to graduate. So I think I bought every pair of sneakers that came out. I had pennies. I had whichever Jordans. The Jordan. God, what number were they? 6 with a black along the bottom, all white, but with the thick black along the bottom. Those are fat. Those I liked a lot. But those Diamond Turfs, best sneakers I ever had.
Okay, so you and I played a lot of pickup ball when we lived next to each other. What's your preference when it comes to a basketball shoe? I can't remember if you were a high top, a low top, a mid guy. Oh,
yeah, I sprained my ankles so many times. I was always wear the high tops. Yeah, and pole vault, you land instead of on your back, you land on your feet. Sprain an ankle, like don't come down on the mat. You sprain an ankle. Basketball. There were so many times as an undergrad, I hobbled across campus. It'd take me 40 minutes to get the 600 yards to campus to class. Sprained them so many times, but I'm trying to think. The worst time I ever sprained them, rehabbing from that was the first time I could ever dunk after that, like legit dunk all the time. So that rehab really set me up, and I busted my butt. Like I could high jump high, but I could never dunk before that. High jump 6'4", which is not bad when you're 6 feet.
How tall are you?
My hips over my head. 6 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not terrible.
I've always tried to impress people that a couple times some of our track guys got in trouble and so they weren't playing. So if I had an opportunity at a meet in high school, I would do high jump because if I could finagle to get the opening height, I could do my height. I'm only 5'6" though. So I was always impressed that I could even get I Fosbury flopped and I had the technique, but no, your boy has no hops and that's all I had there.
That's all I had.
What are you hooping in right now? What shoes are you wearing now?
It's an embarrassment. Well, one, I have the Air Infuriates. So they're not super high end. They're basically black and gold. So they're fine. I got like a tiger pattern on the black cloth. And then I just got so my son loves Jason Tatum, a huge Celtics fan. I am a huge Celtics fan. So he got the Tatums. And my wife was like, well, you're not spending 100 whatever bucks on shoes. So I ended up with the Westbrooks. I'm wearing Westbrook Jordans right now. They're fine. I should have just said, sorry, I'm getting the Tatums.
Justin, why is she blocking? I don't understand.
I don't know. She wouldn't have if I had pushed. I was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. I just hadn't had a pair of Jordans in a long time, honestly. I just wear whatever's around because we're not playing hard. We got a couple of friends that come over and we play. But for the most part, I don't even tie my shoes most of the time. I'm just out there.
Do you guys play on the same team when people come over, or you play against each other when people come over?
It depends. It depends on who's over. He's got a friend who's a little younger who thinks he's awesome. So it's a lot of the time it's those two against me.
Oh, golly. Wait, aren't they supposed to take it easy on the old guy? Because you're hitting
over. Like in the summer, I think last summer we had one day where I played 6 straight hours.
My guy.
I love it.
I know.
I swore I would play until the wheels fell off. They're mostly off, but I still love it.
No, I got a diagnosis the other day, and he's like, "Well, man, you can retire that knee, or until it officially falls off." And I said, "Well, if you're saying there's a chance, I'm just gonna keep on doing it."
Well, last spring, I don't know why I thought this. The hoop is adjustable. So I was like, well, I'm going to work my way back up to dunking. So, I weigh not a ton more than I weighed in college. I
Yeah,
weigh probably 10, 12 pounds more than I weighed in college,
that's
but
not
it's radically redistributed.
bad.
my ass, my ass vanished, and that's where a lot of the power came, and it all came around the middle instead. But I
Yeah.
was working my way up, and I got up to about 9'6"
Oh,
dunking, and then tore my meniscus. I was like, "Oh, done."
all right.
So it took a while to rehab that, and then
Yeah.
I went up and I was like, "Pop!" I was like, "Oh, what did I just do?"
So it made a sound. You could hear the.
No, I could feel it though.
Oh, okay.
Sound was special effects by me.
Yeah, no,
You
I
don't have to
always
edit
hear
those in.
the Achilles guys. They always say they
Yeah,
hear
they
that
say
pop.
that's the other
Uh,
reason I've really stopped playing competitively. I'm terrified I'll tear my Achilles. So
I always wonder, like, if there's a type, like if there's a body type. I mean, you're 6 foot at least, but like the Kobe's, the 6'6s, the 6'7s, the long leg guys. Like, I just wonder if that's the case. I
yeah,
don't
I don't
worry about
know.
it too much.
Yeah, I have a friend here at Gonzaga who tore his Achilles a couple of years ago playing ball. So,
Oh, see,
I don't know.
yeah, okay, so it's close to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you have to consider it.
Getting older, so
Yeah, well, you can claim it. I refuse to believe that I'm older. I just think that there's just a lot of games and I've got so much experience that my game experience is what's going to help me on the court.
I wish I knew now. Wish I knew then what I know now about playing ball.
Yeah,
Like just like the guys we played with at Dickinson. I
yeah,
always knew exactly where to be. You would no look just over your head, and you knew you were going to hit the guy because the guy was always exactly where he should be. Like that kind. If I had that understanding of the game in my late teens, 20s, who knows, man?
here's what I found out. So I came up in the era of Iverson. He's from where I'm from, the Dwayne Wade era. Damon Stoudemire, Mighty Mouse, if you remember. So as a guard, I was like, oh, I got to take everybody. I got to cross them. I got to go. Like, you're fast. I wasn't a sprinter, not that kind of fast, but I was like, oh, you got this first step. You got to go. What I'm known for now, then there'll be games where I may not miss. The mid-range is actually where I was supposed to have been. So you shoot the three because that pulls people out. And then when you pull them out, I drive on them. That's what I had done my entire life. But then you get to this age, and what I've been finding out is I never thought I was a shooter. I'd shoot it, but I never was a shooter. But when it comes to me, that I'm in between, I take maybe a step, 2 steps in for the 3-point line, and it comes out just effortless. And it's always baseline. I'm like, wait a minute. So this is where I should have been the entire time? Oh.
Now that the game has moved beyond that, you've seen like NBA shot charts, right?
Yes, I have.
That's not part of the game anymore.
No, it's not.
That's how you know you're old, when your game no longer matches the professional game in any way.
I was trying to explain. I do an old guy game twice a week, but occasionally if we don't have enough guys, like Tuesday's always our lean guy, we'll let some students get in. And I was just explaining to the young guy, I was like, hey, man, you don't have to shoot that three. I'm actually happy that you're shooting it 3 or 4 feet behind the 3-point line because I don't think it's going in and you're helping me. You're bailing. You're faster than me, bro. You should be ripping past me. He didn't get it. And I even told him, and I was like, okay, well, you can give me some space, but you don't need to. I'm going to toe the line. In my day, it was you had to be close to the line. We're not
right.
Not
you get yelled at if you're behind the line.
Yeah. So I had to explain that to him the other day, and he was like, "Hey, you're right. You do hug that line." I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Wow, you do. Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you hugging the line?"
Yeah, because that's the easier shot.
Yeah, muscle memory, young buck. I don't. Nope, can't do that.
Yep.
Jake, Justin, how many times do you practice a half-court shot?
Oh, I don't ever practice a half-court shot, but I take my students to play at the end of every semester. Up to COVID, anyway, I took my students to play because I teach in sports management. So we reserve a court and we go play. Got to play with Rui Hachimura that way. Rui came down to play.
Whoa!
So that was fun. He didn't dunk on me, and I scored on him once. So
Hey!
I'll take that as a win.
Take that, Rui. I hope he gets this
Yeah.
pie. He's going to be like, oh, man, I should have played harder.
So at any rate, we had finished playing, and like 3 of the dudes were there shooting half-court shots. And I'm an educational theorist, right? So I run my class out of 1,250 points. So all the assignments are lots of points. It's a media production course. So like videos, 250 points, audio podcasts, 200 points. And they're like, okay, it's a 1,250 point shot. And they're just chucking up half court shots. So I go, look, dudes, I will get in on this. If I make it before one of you makes it, you'll all get zeros in the class. If one of you makes it first, you'll all get the 1,250 straight up. I made it on the first shot. And they're like, no, we lost. No, we're going to get zero. I didn't give them zeros.
Wow, that is so cool. I can't believe. So, because the reason I was asking is this generation, thanks to Steph Curry, they practice that shot.
Yeah.
And some of them are, they're decent, but they don't look like they struggle. It's not a matter of strength. Because I see guys that look like they. Yeah. And I'm like, how does this 100-pound guy make it look so effortlessly? And I'm bench pressing him plus his buddy, and I gotta kind of run into it, and or I just want to football throw it.
Yep. That would work. No, my son does it in the back, but our court's small. It's basically a half court.
Yeah.
So he's out in the neighbor's yard under a pine tree, gotta throw it under branches to reach from half court.
Yeah. Dad, check this out.
Like if you throw it through the window, dude, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's so cool. All right, so I like to repeat this question. I don't think you'll judge me, but it's always kind of cool. It's senior year in high school. Now, if you brown bagged it, that's cool. Just bear with me. You're in the lunch line. The lunch guy with his hairnet, the cigarette's right there. It's not lit, but it's just hanging. It's about to fall out. And he's like, schlop. He gives it to you. You got that tray. You know you shouldn't be eating that chili, but you're walking out with it. You know you're going to pay for it come 7th period. So you walk out. What table are you sitting at? Golf, volleyball, possibly soccer consideration, track guy. What table are you sitting at?
Super small high school. 118 kids in my graduating class.
Oh, yeah, that is small.
Yeah. The athletes in my school were also mostly the smart people. So, like, one of my guy who's now my brother's brother-in-law was on the basketball team with me. He's a lawyer now, went to Harvard, cross country, basketball. He was not our valedictorian, but he was salutatorian maybe. Super smart guy, Harvard. Another guy went to MIT, football player. Another guy went to BC. I don't know what he does now, and those are all he was on the track team with me. Yeah. All the same guys. It's a popular table because there just weren't that many people. You had like the burners, and you had the guys who played sports, and like that was it. That was all we had.
Justin, you seem. I'm going to get to this a little bit later, but I'll just ask it. Did you play Dungeons and Dragons when you were in high school?
I had Dungeons and Dragons. I had the rule book, but I never had people to play with. So strangely, I don't know. It was the 80s, so maybe not. we play Dungeons and Dragons as professional development in my office, though.
Oh.
We play instructional Dungeons and Dragons. My office is in IDD, Instructional Design and Delivery, and we play ID&D. So basically, we play through. I have a wonderful associate director who does the DMing. Yeah. So she sets up the scenarios. We talk beforehand, and we play through the scenarios as a team, as a group. So it's team building. It's a fun activity, and then I decode what we've done in terms of game development dynamics. So we talk about it, and we say, how would we use this in designing courses for faculty? So it's kind of fun. So I play more now than I did then.
I'm telling you, I was in study hall. The not cool kids / nerdy kids, Sorry, I had a 2.5. But those guys were in my study hall, and I just kind of happened over because I think I'm a pretty diverse thinking dude, and I just kind of see them, and I was like, man, what y'all doing?
It's interesting.
Cool.
For
So
sure.
and so they were like, here, play. And maybe out of a joke, they made me the cleric. But then I liked it. I liked being the cleric, and so that's always been my love. I can't say I play often anymore, but I thought that in the 80s, if you remember, it got a bad rap. People thought it was satanistic,
Yes.
and
everything else.
that only the nerdy, awkward kids would do it. But it was a fun game, so I'm glad that you could co-sign.
And creative and storytelling and all of those things that are incredibly valuable. So there's nothing to not like about D&D. It sparks your memory, sparks creativity. That's part of the other reason we do it is, it will teach you so many valuable skills.
Okay, Justin, I really like you, but it's been a very long time, so excuse me if I forgot you were from Mass.
That's okay.
But every place I've lived, people have always said bad things about Boston, and I claim I'm from the South. I'm a military kid, but I claim to be from the South. I've lived in the South. Even here in Texas is technically the South. People have always been like, hey, man, is Boston racist? Like, it gets that rap. And that goes back to, the people that broke into Bill Russell's house and defecated on his bed. And it goes back to that. And so I'm going to come back to that. But I'm just kind of curious because I really liked who you are, especially now that you're telling me all this. I've always thought it was one of my talking points anyway. You seem so comfortable with people that don't look like you, don't have a similar background, that are different. Like in my culture, in the black culture, we make the joke that I bet Justin get an invite to the cookout. So I'm kind of curious, what were the demographics in that 118 senior class, and what makes you you seem like you're so flexible. Where's that come from?
That's a fascinating question. One, I think the world is racist. I think that is a real problem. Yeah. I do data analysis stuff, data analytics. I teach that. And I was doing some reading, and there was I don't forget which book it was, but was talking about the web searches when Obama became president.
Yeah.
And racist shit, racist jokes, everything racist peaked so hard everywhere in neighborhoods you wouldn't think it would, Massachusetts, everywhere during Obama's presidency. Like, I think there's so much racism in this country. It's shocking. It's been hidden up until Trump. And the fact that he's just allowed it to come out of the woodworks is disgusting. I think it reveals a lot of who we are. I think that it's complete bullshit with this whole white fragility, like, oh my God, you're going to make me feel bad. Yeah, fucking own the history. We fucking stole people from their countries.
Thank you.
We raped them, abused them, cut pieces off of them. You fucking own it. You didn't do it.
Justin, I always say, I served in the military with a bunch of Native Americans, and one of them said to me, he was like, man, I want to know who is the public affairs guy for black people, because it seems like that's the first place everyone goes is to black people. But bro, we were here. Columbus can't find a place that we were already living here. And look, everything was taken from us, Trail of Tears, all of this, but everyone directly goes to black people. He's like, man, y'all got the best public affairs.
Hidden minority. It's a hidden minority. Well, we're surrounded by tribes here. Like, we have reservations all around us. Spokane is the Spokane people. Like, our whole city is on their ancestral lands. Spokane River, which was a huge salmon fishery, historically runs right through the middle of the city.
Whoa.
Like, but you don't see them. You have to get out of the city to see Native people. We acknowledge them in every meeting. Like, we give a land acknowledgement. Every big event at Gonzaga, we give a land acknowledgement. But they're invisible. Like, we've got one guy who's a Hopi on campus who I love. He's a fantastic dude. He's friends with Sherman Alexie, who went to Gonzaga briefly, the author. But like, we have one Native professor in the Native American Native Studies department. But beyond that, it's largely invisible.
Yeah.
My child had one friend who's Navajo, but invisible. Black people, we have more black people here on campus, and they're more visible. It's a basketball school too, so that's the thing. So my graduating class, I think, had one black student.
No,
Sure.
wait, what?
I think there were 2 or 3 in the entire school.
What?
Yeah. So where do I come off as not being racist? I don't know. I think we're all racist, Doug. I think we're all racist in our brains. Like, there's research. We all have implicit bias.
Yep.
Like, it's there. You got to acknowledge that.
Yes.
I think my parents not racist, so I don't think, or not overtly, weren't using the N-word all the time and being overtly racist. So I think some of it is upbringing, some of it is graduate training, right? Going through grad school and trying to understand a diverse perspective and see the world differently.
Yeah.
I think that also makes a difference. I don't know. I think accepting the world is. I get okay. So if you want to talk about me personally, I think I'm just easygoing, right? Like, I don't. This is a weird analogy to this, but I love horror movies. I watch every single horror movie. I read every single horror. This is not about black people.
Right.
It's about
right, because they're not into horror movies. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, they get killed first. Right. They get killed first. So
this is true.
I find value in every single movie I watch and book I watch, because I'm not prejudging them. I'm not determining in advance that, this got a shitty review, it's going to be a terrible movie.
Yep.
There's going to be something interesting in that movie, and I will look for whatever that interesting thing is, not what the story about the movie is. So maybe it's just that. Like, that's how I function, is I'm going to take the best out of whatever I'm presented with, no matter what anybody else says or thinks about it. I don't know.
Well, no, it's something that I noticed, when you and I used to play ball as a bunch of guys, and you can tell when people are uncomfortable around you, and that it actually hurts the whole process, because, like, if you're comfortable, you're like, man, what I got to do to make you comfortable? Like, what do you want to know? You want to wave the metal wand over me because you think if you foul me, I'm going to stab you? Like, what would make you feel better so we can really have a great time here? So, like, you're comfortable. That sucks. That sucks sometimes. And then, it could be a lot of different things. I won't always say it's going to be race, but I can tell when just people are uncomfortable. And then you could see that clear line of delineation when they cross it and they're comfortable with you. So I was like, man, we could have been here already a long time ago.
I think I'm empathetic. I think I feel empathy for people. I think I can put myself in their shoes. I had a friend, Chris Palmer, at Dickinson. He wasn't a student. He was from town, and we were playing basketball at those courts that used to be right outside the Klein Center. And we went over to, like, the Dairy Queen afterwards. He drove over. We're sitting on the hood of his car just talking before we were going to go and get ice cream. And the white girls in the restaurant were just staring at us and came over and locked the door. And I was like, what? They're not closing. He's like, no, that I'm black. He's like, that's what happens. Like that was, like, coming from where I came from, all white town, no black kids. Like, that was the experience. I was like, that's the world. That's the way shit is for people who don't look like me. And that, and that was, I don't know, however many dozens of years ago, and that has resonated with me forever. Like, that's the reality for black people. That's not my reality. I got to see it, and obviously not live it, but I got to see it for 1 second, and imagine living that your whole life. And I feel like there's a lot of research about games and playing games and reading books and opening your mind. And what that research says is that if you read a book, your mind can't tell the difference between you having the experience and reading about the experience. Like, the way it processes in your brain is the same. And I read a ton of stuff, and I read diverse stuff. I read from diverse perspectives. I was a literature major, but I took Chinese literature, African American literature, African literature, Native American literature. I took all of those literature classes. Didn't take Shakespeare in college. Had to take Shakespeare when I wanted to get my teaching license. So you didn't take Shakespeare. I was like, yeah, no. But I think maybe some of that perspective has stuck. I don't know. I'm not claiming to fully understand the Black perspective or the Black experience, but I'm saying maybe there's something to that theory that if you actually are willing to immerse yourself and put yourself in those shoes, you can. I don't know. I feel like it's exoticization and othering. Like, you're just a dude, Doug. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get it. My parents are from New York, and so we could pick on the people who say, "Oh, I don't see color." You could pick on that. Yes, technically it is a faulty phrase, but it's the melting pot. And my dad always represented it as, listen, bro, when we're talking about somebody, we'll just describe them what they look like. He's a brunette, and he's got some scruff, and he's about 6 foot tall. He's wearing glasses, and then boom, we got that. That's how it always was growing up. And then you come in. And one thing I like to brag about is we used to go over to white people's houses and have dinner with them, my dad's white friends. And we used to have them come over to our house and have dinner with us. And he had some Asian friends. And we had that opportunity. And I think that helped us so that we weren't intimidated to feel like, oh, man, we're supposed to have a problem with that guy. I'm like, no. Yeah,
it's something different. It's not anything different. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that he did that. And growing up in New York, he said, listen, man, I don't care what their ethnicity is. There's some sketchy dudes that if you're on the subway, you step away from them. They could be from Chinatown. They could be from this side of the Bronx, this part of Brooklyn. He's like, so it doesn't matter. Where I'm from, you watch everybody. You lock that door on everybody. It wasn't about your buddy. It was Justin. It was the guy he was with.
Yep, absolutely.
It's a Dickinson guy. Lock the door.
Yeah, Dickinson's dude. Bad news in Carlisle.
Yeah. All right. So, a little curious here. You mentioned the wife twice. I don't do this too often. Who is this woman that you speak of, and how did you guys meet? I'm a little curious.
The meeting story is fascinating. She's also a Dickinson alumna. I guess she's an alumni. I'm an alumnus. She's an alumna. I don't know how you make the Latin work there when you're talking about two people.
Well, which one is alumnae?
Alumnae is plural female.
Okay. All right. That's all you're getting out of me.
That's the only thing I ever learned from Bill Durden at Dickinson. Is how to use the so this actually goes to Native culture. So just like most white people, I had the mythical Native grandmother. So she was Blackfoot. Doesn't exist. I've done the 23andMe. There's no Native blood in me. It's all European. It's all Germany, France, England, Ireland, Northern European, some Italian, a little bit of Italian. There's no Native grandmother. Told my entire life that I had a Native great grandmother.
Yep.
Or great, not a real thing. Didn't learn that until later. So went to college, loved Native American stuff. This was also 80s, 90s where Native spiritualism was making a huge push in American culture. So I took Native American religion, I took Native American literature, I took all those courses, and as one of the experiences in one of those courses, we went up to the Delaware Nation in northern PA for a retreat. So we went out, hung out with the Delaware tribe. I don't think that's an officially recognized tribe right now. I think Delaware have been displaced, but there's like a little offshoot hanging out in up in Williamsport where they do the Little League World Series.
Little League, yeah.
So did that literally, I think, the week after my grandmother died, the regular white grandmother from France. Literally the week after she died. And I should probably backtrack. I'll backtrack in a minute. Okay. So went there, did the whole experience, right? It was you're gonna go, you're gonna do the drumming, you're gonna do the chanting, talk to the shaman, talk to the chief, do all that stuff, camp out. So did a sweat lodge. Like that sweat lodge was, I think, the only religious experience I've ever had in my life where like let everything out. You're crying, you're sweating, you're wailing and bemoaning my just deceased grandmother. So we did that, and then we would crawl out of the sweat lodge, and we went. This is in October. We went up into this cold mountain stream. We all bathed in the mountain stream, then slept that night. I woke up the next morning. I stick my head out of the tent, and there's a baby deer like 5 feet from my tent. So I did like this with my fingers, and the thing came over and let me pet it.
What?
Like, I'm like, what the? Okay,
Yeah.
cool, amazing. Like, this is the greatest weekend of my life. I'm like, this is so cool. So I came back to campus that Sunday or Monday, and I wrote an article about it for the Dickinson newspaper. Prior to that, how to say this politely? My wife was a Spanish major. I had a friend who thought she was cute, so she was off limits, right? She was the French house chick because it was a French and Spanish house, and she was off limits. So whatever. And there was another girl I kind of liked, so I had asked her to a party. She had said no.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah, that's okay. She was busy. So I was like, my friend had asked out Rebecca, my wife, and she had said no to him or something. So I was like, well, I'm going to ask her out. Do you care? He's like, no, go ahead. So I asked her to the party. No, wait, I think I got this backwards. I think I asked her first, and she said no.
Oh.
So I asked this other girl I was interested in, and she said yes.
Oh, okay.
So I'm at the party, and they both showed up.
Oh.
So I'm on a couch with one on either side.
Uh-huh.
Embarrassed as all hell. So embarrassed, in fact, that we were in the suites at Dickinson, where it's like 2 bedrooms and a big common room and a bathroom at the back. I went to the bathroom and I came back and I thought I'd be cool. And I jumped over the couch to kind of land between them, hit my head on the rafter over the couch. So land on there. Eventually, it was like this contest where one of them, they ended up basically walking each other home because neither one of them wanted to leave the other one with me. And then my wife said, this guy's an asshole. I don't want anything to do with him. And then read that article. So she read the article in the Dickinson newspaper. She's like, my God, this is amazing. I gotta see who this is. She's like, oh my God, it's that guy? So she then waited outside for me to walk by again and blah, blah, blah. So
not bad, sir.
Story.
Really cool. So
interesting.
Was it the hair? The hair has always been amazing, Justin. And I see it's still holding. It's man. I bet we all hate you when you're not around. We talk about you.
My brother has way less hair, and he's like, "What's going on with the hair?" Jeez. Yeah, I got my professor hair on. So. Yeah,
man, that's a good. It's great, man. You got the Superman hair, and I won't ruin it by telling everybody your age. But sheesh, man, you're not. It's not supposed to look like that.
So yeah,
man. Well, hey, you still got her. She loved your writing.
Yeah,
and that's literally how we all want it to happen.
She's a literature professor, so it makes sense.
Even more so now. She's like, well, it was your writing that intrigued me. Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah, that's great. I was just kind of curious about you as the guy from Mass. If I had an opportunity, why would I leave the state of Massachusetts? For those who don't know, there's like, I'm gonna make fun of it here. There's probably 30 colleges in Boston itself. Why did you leave the state? How did you end up?
I never went back. Yeah. I never went back. So challenging childhood. My dad's a Vietnam vet, 100% disabled, PTSD, Agent Orange. His lungs are destroyed. My mom was an abused child, so she, I think, had me to get out of her house.
Oh.
So that kind of deal. I think both parents are alcoholics, so that's been a challenge. Yeah. It was a rough childhood. What my brother and I didn't realize was my dad wasn't normal, because for us, being taught how to kill people, how to shoot guns, how to blow shit up. Like that's normal. Like that's what kids do. Like we made
Right?
our own forge, we made our own swords, and then we used those swords to fight each other. Like that's what kids do. No, that's not what kids do.
No,
Apparently, no. So,
are you sure he
my
wasn't
brother
training you
ended
guys
up-
to be samurai or ninjas?
he was training us to be something. My brother ended up in the Marine Corps, so it
Oh,
all
then
worked
he
out in the
fits.
end.
All that he needed, all that he was perfect.
Yeah, but he went back on leave one time, and went out to dinner with my dad. They went to a Chinese restaurant to pick up food, and
Yep.
my dad starts a fight with two good old boys at the bar to see if my brother can handle himself.
Wow.
So my brother put them both on the ground. He's like, "Guys, please stay down. I don't have to hurt you." So like that was my childhood. Like that's what the situation was. So I went to college, and I don't think I ever considered going home. Like,
Okay.
Massachusetts, there was no, like I was done. Like I got out, done, gone. So had met
And you
Rebecca.
did say you stayed there for the summers.
I stayed there for some summers, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had met Rebecca, and I was like, well, I'll got a job in a sporting goods store, Shank and Tittle down in the mall, if you remember it. Got a job at that sporting goods store, yeah.
Wow.
And just stayed.
all coming
Moved in with Eric Sugarman, who was one of the trainers there, and went on to work for the Bears and the Vikings. He was an NFL trainer. I think he just got Me Too'd out of the league though, like a couple years ago. So there was some sexual assault accusations. He's no longer in the league. But lived with him, and I was just like, yeah, no, I'm done. Don't need to go. I actually miss some of it. You know what I don't miss are ticks. We have ticks here, but we don't have ticks like that.
Yeah.
I don't miss that, but like I love Stephen King. I love the regionalism of it. I love my teams. So the Celtics, Patriots, Bruins, Red Sox are problematic, but love
Yes,
those
they are.
teams. Still watch every game. Miss the feel. Like there's a feel. I don't know how to describe this. My dad will be like, "Here's directions to get there," and I'm like, "Great. Are there street signs?" He's like, "No. You just know the roads. There's no street signs. You just go." He's like, "You turn left at the rock near the pond." I'm like, I don't lived here for 30 years, Dad. How do I know which pond? Fucking pond every 5 feet.
Yeah.
I like the feel. There's a darkness. Like the history of New England. Read all of the like Nathaniel Hawthorne and Emily Dickinson and Robert Frost and all those New England poets and authors growing up. And the woods are like that. My brother and I would go out, part of our normal childhood, take our guns and just go out into the woods and just try and get lost because it was creepy, it was scary, it was fun. Who knows? And we would just, go out for hours and hours and hours and try and get ourselves lost because that's the feel. And that's like what New England is. There's not there's not street lights. Like there's roads with no names. They're dirt. They're like, it's dirty. It's gritty. So I miss that. Some of that is here. We're close to Idaho, close to Montana. Like you can get out and you can get some of that here. But it doesn't have the same age. My mom lives in a historic farmhouse that was built in the 1700s. Shit's haunted. I am sure it's haunted. There was a guy, General Kirkby Lawton, hit my bedroom as a kid, was his bedroom. I could smell his cigar smoke at night, and he had died like 100 years earlier. My house is haunted. She got a picture of like she was remodeling, and it's the living room, and there's a bay window, and there's an empty couch in the foreground of that picture, and in the reflection in the window behind it, you can see a person sitting on that couch.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, house is haunted for sure. Like I love that. I love horror. I love that feeling. I love that, and I miss that about being there. Like we got Sasquatch here. That's cool.
Justin, I want to believe it, but is Sasquatch just so much? Is the intelligence of Sasquatch so much more than us that they bury their remainings?
I think it's space. So my wife will shoot me because I don't believe in Sasquatch, but I do believe in Sasquatch because I drove across the country twice when we moved out here. Drove the moving van out, flew back, put the family in the minivan, and drove across again. There is so much space Like there is more open space and trees and nothing and inaccessible mountains than you could possibly imagine if you've never been through it. Like we go camping, we go dispersed camping. We just drive out on dirt roads, and there's a spot on the side of the road. We're going to camp there. That's scary as hell. Between grizzly bears and mountain lions and potential Sasquatch,
Yes, sir.
it's scary. And you can believe when you're out there. We like I fly to Seattle or drive to Seattle, and you got to go through the Cascade Mountains. And like Seattle's a big city, and these mountains are like 40 minutes from downtown Seattle.
Yes.
And there's nothing. There is nothing. Not a single thing. You could easily believe there could be something there that people just don't see. I think it's ridiculous to think that we haven't ever found anything if they really exist. So that's the like, yeah, probably not. But if you want to see some, there's space. There's so much space that there could be unimagined shit out there that you would never know.
You know, my wife and I, she's my girlfriend at the time, had to come up. I was working at UCLA at that time, and I had to come up to Tacoma for the summer. And but you know, it's a work trip, so all expenses paid. And I was like, "Have you ever been to Seattle?" And she's like, "No." I was like, "Come up for the summer." So we drove up. We brought my motorcycle, rode my motorcycle up Mount Rainier. She's a Los Angeles gal.
Oh, nice.
So for her to see that there's snow on a mountain in the middle of the summer, lost her mind. We had to pull the motorcycle over. She goes and writes her name in the snow, and it was a lot of fun. But just carving those mountains, going through Washington State on a motorcycle, and Oregon. We I-5. We were all over.
Yep.
But the Coast Highway, we really. You should do it on a motorcycle. But we remember thinking the same thing too. It was like, isn't this? It feels so Planet of the Ape-ish. Like, where there's going to be. That's what we thought. Like just a bunch of
unsettled.
Just a bunch of super hybrid apes were going to come out and take us back. That's where we went. We forgot about Sasquatch, but we thought that was going to happen because of the trees and. It's incredible.
It's amazing. Yeah. We love it. We go up into northern Idaho. We have our own challenges with Idaho. Idaho's white supremacist hell. But we go up to Priest Lake, which is again up on the Canadian border, and go in July. You can go swimming, and you can see snow on the mountains around the lake. It's amazing to just be swimming in nature when there's snow around. Yeah, it's glorious out here. We love it. So I don't miss that.
That summer of 2013, it was the first time in almost 40 years that they had 35, 36 straight days of no rain. That was the summer of 2013. That's when we were there. So again, a perfect time to bring the motorcycle. But a buddy I was working with, he was from Boise State, and he told me, he was like, "Listen, man, Boise is the hidden jewel. You've got to check it out." Now, again, that was 2013. It's probably grown a lot since then. People have probably figured it out. But, yeah, he's told me good things about Boise. What say you? Mm-hmm. You go to the outskirts of Boise?
I have never been to Boise.
Okay. Put it on your list, Justin, and get back to it.
We have been down there. So my father-in-law came out to visit, and we thought it would be a good idea. Like, this was when we first moved here. We thought it'd be a good idea to drive, because you can get the corner of Washington into Idaho and back into Oregon. We made a big loop, right?
Yes.
So we didn't know how big things were. So we got to Lewiston, Idaho, maybe, and we're like up on top of a mountain, and we're looking out, and we're like, "Oh, that's Lewiston over there." Like, we know where we're gonna go. A place called Rattlesnake Pass. Like, literally no guardrails, cows in the road, and 3,000-foot cliff on your right side. So I'm driving, so I'm on the inside. I'm like, yeah. My father-in-law was about to die. He's like, hanging on the side in a minivan down this shit. And we finally got to Lewiston. That was like 5. We got to Lewiston like 2 in the morning. Because this is all for nowhere forever. That was as close as we got to Boise State, that corner of Idaho.
Can you do it?
But it's
not. You lost me. You had to convince me when you told me we were going to Rattlesnake Pass. You had to convince me. You know, the cool thing is, so I'm a military vet. I don't always lead with it. You already know that. But it's okay. You can be brave when you got guns and machetes and and bayonets. But
Sure.
that's how I always dealt with it. I was like, well, hey, you're gonna find out what my machete feels like. I was always ready. But no, I don't. Nope, I'm good. Rattlesnake Pass, not interested.
I don't know. I love being scared, so that's
okay. Well, you already told us that when you and your brother with your guns just went out to the woods just to get lost. Wasn't that up around your neck of the woods, the Blair Witch Project? Wasn't that up there?
no,
that
that's
Mass area?
That's Delaware. That's Delaware.
Oh,
Delaware.
Dad, burn it. All right,
No,
I was
but we
going to
would
give it to
go.
you.
We used to try and find haunted houses, and we'd go break in a haunted house. Don't cut that part out. we would enter abandoned haunted houses and try and scare ourselves.
Yeah.
So the best one ever, we had built a fort in the woods by my dad's house, and it was just like sticks, right? Just falling down trees, cordoning off an area, maybe some sort of tree structure. My cousins came to visit us one night. Well, like one little flashlight. We're like, hey, let's go. I got another story to tell you too. Let's go. Let's show them this little fort. So we take them out into the woods, and we get to where the fort is, and we shine our light, and there's these two glowing eyes in the fort.
Huh?
So we're like, oh shit! It was a deer. I'm sure it was a deer. So it like tore up our fort trying to escape from us. We were scared to hell. All ran back to the house. But my mom is the different story, but the same story. My mom is crazy. Here, the dog's leave finally. Thank God. The dog left 4 hours. My mom would took the dogs out for a walk one time. This is back in Massachusetts, and her house is in a state forest, so she's the only house in that state forest. And there's a road that goes around the top, and then hers is like an L that connects that road around the top. So she took the dogs out for a walk to the left one time, and she came running back. Guys, there's something scary at the end of the road. Go. We're like, okay, cool. We grab guns and a flashlight. And we're like, yeah, let's go. So we trek up to the end of the road, and we shine our light across the road, and there's these two huge glowing green eyes.
Wait a minute.
At eye level with us. We're like, oh my God, what is it? I'm like, don't shoot it yet.
Yeah.
And then the eyes go up and up and up like 3 or 4 more feet.
No.
And then it goes, it was a cow across the road. My brother almost plugged a cow in the face. It was on a hill. It was on a hill across the street. It had its head down on the ground. And then when it saw us, it like raised its head up. It stood and raised its head up. So it was like, oh my God, it's like 8, 9 feet tall. What the hell? Moo. Like, that's a cow.
Okay. Woo. Man, Justin, I'm glad we at the end, bro. You're going to give me nightmares tonight. I said
that's good. I
had the guns, I had the machete, I had the bayonet. I don't have that right now.
Hey.
I'm not getting good sleep tonight. You got ghouls sitting on couches. You got every Justin Marquis story has a set of glowing eyes.
Yes, they're all scary stories.
I'm gonna go out here and hug my family after this.
I can give you one. I give you one more if you got a minute.
Let's do it.
So we moved here, and this is different. Like, this is a whole different world. Mountain lions, moose,
yes,
all that shit. Right? We got a herd of deer that live in the backyard. We got fuzzy things. What the hell are they called? I forgot what they're called. I'll think of it. So first or second fall here, I had an elderly Chihuahua at that point. She had passed. She was blind. I think she was mostly deaf, and basically incontinent. So every night, like 2 a.m, this dog wants to go out. So I would take the dog outside, let her pee out back, bring her back in, put her in a little box, and I would just go back to sleep on the couch. I won't wake up my wife going back into the bedroom. Every night. So one night, I take the dog out. I set her down. She pees. I'm just out there with a flashlight. I'm like, oh, there's a cat over there, whatever. Didn't perspective in the dark distance did not compute. A cat, whatever, fuck cat, I don't care. Take the dog back in, and the dog will not go back to sleep. She just keeps whining all night, and then the security light out back is going on all night. I'm like, what is going on? So I wake up the next morning, take my daughter to school, get in the car, take the dog with me. The dog sits on my lap. We drive to school, have to get out of school, bring the dog back, put the dog down, and go in to wake up my son. And I come back and I can't find the dog. I'm like, where'd the dog go? So I go looking for the dog, and I walk around the corner of the house, and the dog is sniffing a swath of blood and hair on the side of the house. I was like, oh, that's weird. But my daughter and I had been jogging in the woods. We live near a nature area. Yeah. So we had been jogging. We ran into two hunters, and they're like, be careful. There's mountain lions. They're like, yeah, we film a hunting show out here. They film like Hunting the Northwest, like in our backyard.
Oh,
like, there's mountain lions, so just be careful when you're jogging, wear bells, look behind you, shit like that. So like, cool, we won't jog here anymore.
Yeah.
One, you're hunting shit, and two, we don't want to get eaten by a mountain lion.
Right.
So I find the dog, I bring the dog inside, and then I later in that day take the dog outside, and I happen to look under the porch, and there's a half-eaten deer under the porch.
What?
So what had happened the night before is the mountain lion had killed the deer up against the house, dragged it under the porch, and was probably under there eating it when I took the dog out the first time, and it scampered out. That was the cat I saw in the forest. So it was so different here, right? I call the police because, I don't know, we don't have mountain lions in Massachusetts or Pennsylvania that kill shit under your porch. But I call the police, and they're like, well, no, we don't deal with that. Call Fish and Wildlife. They'll deal with it. I was like, okay, cool. I'll call Fish and Wildlife. So I call them. They're like, yeah, that's probably a mountain lion. You want to get that out from under your porch? I'm like, no shit, thanks. No, I don't want the dead deer under my porch. So the mountain lion comes back and eats it. I'm like, so I'll just drag it to the road and you guys will come and get it? I'm like, nah, you can keep it. You can do whatever you want with it. Like, what am I doing? I have the deer. The whole eaten from the ass in. Yeah. So we dragged it up the hill behind the house and tied it to a tree. And then over the next couple of days, the coyotes came and shredded it. So you just see the evidence every day. The deer dispersed for like a 50-yard radius, hair, parts, everything. They just tore it apart and just left the pieces up there. So that's where I live. It's kind of fun.
So that's the part right there where I start to remember I can never walk out of the house without my 6-shooter on my hip. That's how I begin every story. Yeah, so I walked out the house with my 6-shooter on my hip, and then I did some yard work. I was in the hammock with my 6-shooter on my hip. I get every single time. That's what I'm thinking. But no, it's beautiful up there. I hope none of our listeners get scared away. It's absolutely beautiful.
It is. It's lovely.
And I don't want, man, this is the bad part. All of my Austin people are going to hear this, but I'm threatening you, Justin Marquis. You haven't seen the last of me. We may be living in that great Northwest here shortly.
That would be awesome. Sorry, dog is going nuts.
Yeah, so that's a possibility. It's a possibility
if you come up
before my wheels fall off. Hopefully.
Yeah. Just remember, I'm 5 hours from Seattle, so.
Yeah. No, I remember that.
It's a haul.
I don't intend to be in downtown. We'll see. We'll see where we're going to be. It'll be for the wife. She's going to be in that Seattle. She'll be in downtown Seattle. Nice. But she's a trooper, dude. Like, she hooks us up. Like, she drives 50 minutes to work just so we can live where we live now and have all the opportunity. So, wow, the good thing that I'm flexible with what I do, and so yeah. But it's certainly a possibility. So I'll keep you in the loop. Great, because we love it up there that much. Before we go, Justin, I'm gonna end with one last question. Mm-hmm. What are you listening to nowadays? You're hopping in a car right now. You got to take a 45-minute drive because your wife wants you to go pick up something from some store, and it's such a waste. Yeah. I don't know why she won't go herself, but you got to go, man. what's playing on that station? Is it some serious rate, some solid
So
radio?
here's the challenge. I stopped listening to anything new after grunge, really. Like
Hmm.
Audio Slave, Pearl Jam, all those
Yep.
pieces, I more or less stopped. If it wasn't David Bowie and it wasn't Iggy Pop, and it wasn't any of the, I'm gonna kill the dog. It wasn't any of those. I kind of stopped. The kids brought it back for a little while, and we listened to
Yeah.
some of that, whatever that stuff is that kids
Yeah.
listen to now.
I don't want to put a name on it.
But so my default music is David Bowie. So, and I
Oh,
think some of this goes to way back to your earlier question about why I may be open to difference and
yeah.
accepting of difference. I don't know how much you know about Bowie. Bowie always thought he was an outsider. Like, never felt like he fit in. Gender bending, cross dressing, diverse lifestyle, diverse existence, and that his music has always resonated with me.
Yeah.
When Bowie died in 2016, I said to somebody, "The soundtrack of my life has ended now." Like,
Yeah.
that music, that outsider feel has always
Mm-hmm.
resonated with me. So if I had a choice, I would listen to Bowie. I can see. I just got for my birthday last month. I got Diamond Dogs on vinyl, so that's sitting out right now. Um, I got a novel planned. I'm working on one novel. Got another novel planned that is about Bowie and his interest in the occult. So,
Ooh,
so
that
we'll
sounds.
see. I just gotta get off my ass. I gotta stop teaching and focus more on writing. That's my problem.
Hmm.
So it would
Yeah,
always be
sounds
Bowie.
like we got a sabbatical on top.
I don't get a sabbatical because I'm staff. I'm professional staff. So
Ah,
I'm on the administrative side of things. I
yeah,
just teach because I'm nice. I don't know.
yeah, that's hilarious. Okay, we had a great time. We went through the time. I
Everywhere.
promise you. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
What if anyone wants to follow any social media you want to drop? If they were giggling as much as me and enjoying anything.
Yeah, so mainly I quit Twitter because of Elon Musk. So
Yeah.
no, sorry, no. I have a blog. Let me grab it for you, and I run it through
Sure.
Gonzaga now. I was a blogger for a while,
Uh-huh.
which was a lot of fun. Is this it? No, I gotta find it. Sorry. I did that for 3 years when we first moved here. I blogged
Oh,
for an educational website, so that was fun.
yeah. Oh man, I know we have
And I brought that
educators.
back recently.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be interested. And then did that other novel that you mentioned that's already
Yeah.
been printed? We
No, I'm about 67,000 words into. Like,
okay.
I love horror, so it's a werewolf novel. And what I've done
Oh,
is I have taken the idea, the Beast of Gévaudan, France.
yes.
It was a creature that killed potentially as many as 350 people in a 3 or 4 year span in 1765 to 7 France. I've taken the historical context of that and written into it a different kind of werewolf creature. So I've
Oh,
reinvented the idea of the werewolf in what I think is a pretty cool and creative way.
yeah.
So that I just there was a time where I was writing pretty regularly. This semester we had a change in Washington employment laws, and a bunch of people who were salaried got moved to non-salaried, and
Yeah.
those were a lot of the people who adjunct teach for Gonzaga. We ended up
Mhm.
having a lot of our staff teach, so I ended up teaching three this semester.
Oof.
In addition to my full-time job, and somebody decided it was a good idea to make me the chair of academic integrity too. So
Oh
I've
my God.
been effectively doing 3 full-time jobs this semester, and the writing has gone by the wayside. But
Yes.
I will finish that one. That one is exciting. This is like competition. My younger brother has now written 5 or 6 novels. So I'm like, dude. He's like, oh, I attribute him to you because you were such a great brother, and we told stories together and all that. I'm like, yeah, but you're just leaving me in the dust. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to
Yes.
finish this one, and then the Bowie one is complex. So I really think that Bowie's last album, Black Star, was a spell. It was an immortality spell. And if you track back Bowie's development,
Yeah.
There's a connection to the Golden Dawn, which is Aleister Crowley's spiritualist group. So Crowley was a demonologist, raised the dead, did all of those things.
Mhm.
There's a direct link back to the Golden Dawn in the Hunky Dory album. It's mentioned by name. The same musical patterns, the Devil's Chorus,
Mhm.
repeats from that album through to Black Star, and I think Black Star was Bowie's spell for immortality, and that's the premise of the novel. It tracks back all the way to the Golden Dawn and goes from there. So it'll be fun. Just got to get my ass in gear and write it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're a basketball player, man, like me, and I just need you to know that it's a skunk. Isn't 6-0 a skunk? Your brother's about to skunk you. You got to call it before you start the game.
So here's the deal. I was a blogger, so I wrote 300 articles in those 2 years. So not like I haven't written a ton of academic stuff. Can I tell you one more story about skunking people?
Yeah,
when I worked at Shank and Till, it was right after I graduated from Dickinson. I worked at Shank and Till, and my manager, I was the assistant manager of the sporting goods store. My manager, Lance, thought he was a baller. So he made more than I did. So one day he was like, yeah, you think you can ball? Let's play for paychecks. I was like, ooh, okay, Lance, we can play for paychecks, but I'll only take your paycheck if I shut you out. I beat him 11-1. Blocked 2 shots, dunked on him twice. I think I might have let him score that one, so I wouldn't have to take his paycheck.
Golly. I've never played as much ball as I played. I've never played high stakes, and I
wouldn't have done it if I thought there was a chance I would lose. I needed the money, so if I thought there was a chance I would lose, I would never have done it. But I knew I wasn't going to lose. Not that game.
And then you dunked on him, so
a few times. I might have blocked more like 9 of his shots, actually.
Jeez. What was he thinking? You said you felt pretty confident. What world is he living in?
I don't know what the hell he was thinking. Just some arrogant dude. Small town Carlisle dude. Thought he could play ball.
I played with some NBA talent. Vince Carter. We'll have to talk that story. Yeah. Remind me, tell you the time that Vince Carter tried to dunk on me. Really happened.
Was this in a dunk competition, so it was over you?
No. Like, I jump, he jumps, he's got the ball.
That's great.
We may have to save that for another time. We got to bring you back, Justin. I've got some panels that I've thought of, some things to bring in.
Yeah.
I know I've got so far I've done 2 authors on the pod. Maybe I could bring you back when we talk. I would love to talk about.
You bring me back with my brother. That'd be fascinating.
No, that would. Wait a minute. You promise me you'll get your brother and we'll put it together?
Yeah, he's crazy. He's a survivalist nut. Marine Corps. He was at Gitmo, like author. Yep.
Now, if he and I go down a military track just for like a minute or 2, you won't get mad, will you?
No, my dad was Army. I've been immersed. I'll be fine.
We may lose ourselves and like, yeah, man, how about this?
That's okay. That'll be fine.
That's cool. Justin, this was exactly what I thought it was going to be. I think the listeners at this point, I think they're in agreement. This was awesome, man. This was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Thank you very much.
Anytime. Really. Let's do it again. It was fun. And I put the link to that blog in your
and I grabbed it. I'm going to put it for our listeners. If you hadn't already noticed, it'll be in the description. We'll have a description, informal bio of Justin, and then I'll just slide it in under that for you guys. So go back to the describe to see that. All right, Justin.
Fun to catch up with you.
Thanks a lot, man.
At your event.
This was great. Yeah. Have a great rest of the day.
You too. Take care.